Alright, welcome back everybody. I have got a fun tutorial for you today, and we'll be working on project primitives mostly in this one. We're going to design a quick little spaceship with it, starfighter or whatever you want to call it. It's going to be a lot of fun. We'll end up the process using ZModeler to create a low poly mesh and then create some high poly details, so you can take it into whatever application. I'll probably take it into Substance Painter. I won't really go over that today, but I'll show you the steps to get you ready to take it in there, and you can keep on doing whatever you want to do with it. And you saw a little preview of what it looks like, and it should be a lot of fun. We'll go over some of the basics of the project primitive first, and then I'll fly through it real quick and we'll make up a little spaceship, okay? So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to go ahead and grab a Sphere 3D. We'll go ahead and make polymesh and zoom in here, kind of get ourselves orientated. I'll hit X on the keyboard just so I can make sure I'm kind of centered, which is good. I am. And go ahead, we already made polymesh, so go ahead and hit W on your keyboard. That'll bring up your gizmo and it turns it to move. That any scale and rotate, they all bring up the gizmo there. And so let's go ahead and work on our first deformer here. One of the newer ones in here is Subdivide. And I'm going to go ahead and tell it to subdivide, and as you can tell, it's already subdivided. If you paid any attention to the points there, I can delete it real quick so you can see. Yeah, it's down to 8,000. Let's go ahead and just click subdivide. So it's subdivided. We're happy with that. You can actually change it if you wanted, smooth or faceted. We like the smooth. And then you can tell it what level. So you can click and drag it up, but we only need level 1 because I just need a little extra topology on here. And go ahead and accept. We'll move to our next deformer here. It's going to be project primitive, and I'm going to kind of go over the basics here real quick with you, and don't get too scared with all these little cones around here and it's like, oh my god, what's going on? I know I did the same thing when I first got it. First I'm going to go ahead and delete real quick. Okay, I'm going to just delete that real quick, go back to draw. I want to go ahead and fill this object real quick with color, fill object, and I'm going to change the color just a little bit here, maybe darker gray, and I'll explain why here in a second. So file, or no, color, fill object. Alright, so now we got a nice gray color there, fill object again, just to make sure, and go ahead and hit W, and bring our project primitive back up. The only reason I like to do that is if you notice how it gives you all the clues of what each one of these are in those little orange things right there. But if let me zoom in, see if I get it to do it. There we go. So if you got a real lightly colored object, you'll have a tough time seeing that little hint down there of what each one of these cones are. So I always change the color of it, or I try to remember to do it. I'll forget half the time and go, okay, which cone is that? So just change the color, take it down to, a 25% gray or 50% gray. You can still see everything. So just kind of a little tidbit there for you, a little quick tip there, because you cannot change the color of that particular UI, at least not that I'm aware of. I've tried to find it, I can't find it. So I figured it would adopt all the other colors of the UI. It did not. So there you go. Alright, I'm on a tangent here, I'm sorry. So project primitive. Okay, so we're already in here. You see the gizmo still there. See a couple extra bounding boxes in here. Well, it's already working. So if all you have to do, if you just pull up on the gizmo, your object doesn't move, but the little object the little primitive that it's using. So we pull them up and it's a little sphere. It always starts, default is a sphere. So let me zoom in just a little bit. There we go. Alright, so as you can see, it's projecting it out. And if that the center ever goes beyond the surface of the object, it becomes a negative. It'll cut into it like a Boolean cut. So that's pretty cool. So let's take a look at all these little cones and find out what these little cones are doing. Okay, so Tessellate is pretty self-explanatory. It's just going to add subdivisions to that. As you can see, I'm adding subdivisions or tessellating the primitive itself, so it blends a whole lot smoother and don't have all the faucet in it or anything like that. If you go up to minimum displacement, you mess with that one, and it basically cuts off the displacement, so it only protrudes out so high. So you can get that effect with it. Usually I just keep that at 1. I don't usually mess with that one too much. Opacity is a little different. It's kind of hard to explain. It just literally makes it disappear, I guess. It's kind of weird. If you go negative, let's see what that looks like. That's weird. But yeah, I don't usually mess with opacity much, but that's basically what it's doing. If you hold down shift, it'll constrain to 0.1 increments there. Apply grouping is pretty self-explanatory. It's either on or off. It'll add polygrouping or it will not add to it. It'll just deform the mesh. Usually I keep it on. It kind of helps me assign polygroups later. So let's take a look at some of these cones down here. The Y opacity, basically it's kind of a tapering effect to the edge of the primitive. So let me drag him out. And let me mess with this other cone real quick. This is new surface. We're going to crank him up to new surface. And see, you notice how those little cones disappeared because you can't really do anything. You can't do any opacity controls over here. So let me bring them back. We'll dive them back in. There we go, to where we can see them. But yeah, basically these kind of do tapering. So you see how I did it with the Z there? You can see how it kind of tapered it into a little wedge. So we can undo him. Let's do the X. It does the opposite direction. Get a better look at it. There you go. And that's all those do there. So let's go ahead and go around here. So the blend will control how tight it is to the mesh. If you do like a 0, it's just like a union mesh if you're doing a Boolean operation, basically. But if you blend it out, I think default's like 0.29 is what it usually does. So if it's not a very smooth transition, just mess with that blend a little bit. If you come up to new surface, I already showed you that. So if you want to get a couple new meshes to go out there with you to mess with, you could do that. And the white one up here will accept this particular primitive. One thing about project primitive, you can only use one primitive at a time. Okay, it's not like metaballs and other programs where you can have a bunch of them and they'll all interact. It doesn't work that way in here. So you basically you place it, you like it, you click accept, and then you move on and create a new one and this and that. So moving around here, these little guys here are going to be your symmetries. Okay, you could do an X symmetry, you could do a Z, you could do a Y, and you can also do, if you get that white one there, it's kind of hard to get, it's a radial symmetry. And then I guess that's in combination with whatever X, Y, or Z you got going on, it'll apply that radial symmetry. So it's just like your basic symmetry operations that you have with your regular brushes. So continuing on here, let's check out these cones over here. Modifier is basically the shape. Well, these pretty much, all of these kind of generate the shape that you have there. So let me go to a new surface here. I'm going to drag them out so you can see what's going on. And then we're going to come up here to these guys, and modifier will adjust how this primitive behaves. So if we go down to 1 or 0 on this one, it turns it into kind of a crazy little diamond. Or if you pull all the way up to 1, it turns it into a cube. So we'll go back to 0.5, and then we'll change the primitive type to 2. Okay, so kind of looks the same, but there's also, let me make sure that's at 2. Yeah, it's at 2. So if you do your modifiers again, you get different. See, now you get in this kind of top like feature here. Let's go all the way in. See, now you've got a cylinder. Let's go back up to 0.5. Let's change the, see, now you got these other modifiers in here too. This has got a second modifier. And then you can combine them and get some very unique objects for a primitive. So let me reset that. Let me go back to 0.5. 0.5, oops, 0.5. There we go. And let's go up to primitive 3. This one's a cylinder, but it's got, you know, different options as well. So we'll drag him out. So it turns, it's a cube, but it's orientated differently. We'll go in, it's a cube, another cube. 0.5. See, now we've got this kind of a cone type thing that we can create. And if you go the other direction, it reverses it, which comes in quite handy. So we'll go to 0.5. Let's go out to our last one. It creates a torus. And let's play with the modifiers here. You can get a nice squared off one there. Or we can go the opposite direction. It's kind of a diamond type pattern around the torus. And then we've also got these inner ones here that'll work on the width of it. So you got a ton of options of primitives in here. And then you can also orientate it differently by using the green one on any of them. It'll change the orientation. As well as you could turn and scale them just like your regular gizmo. Pretty cool, right? Alright, so we got all these things here. Let me show you. So we've gone too far. If you're ever like, okay, I don't like what I have out here, what do? You can just come over here and do a reset. And it'll reset what you have. It'll reset the orientation and everything. It'll still keep all your other settings, like the primitive type, and if it was had symmetry on, it'll keep all that for you. So go ahead, and if you really don't like what's going on and you want to get all the way back to the start, full reset. And there you go. Now everything is back to the default. So let me frame him up, zoom him out, let's grab our gizmo, and we're back to the sphere that we started with. And that's it. So just a quick example here. So I like this one. I click accept, and see now it generates a brand new one for me. Click accept, and I could just keep on going with that, or I could change the primitive type. Like that. Scale them up. You can do a bunch of weird little things with this thing. So let me talk about these white dots that you see around here. You're probably asking yourself, what are those things? Well, these are kind of cool. You can actually, it's kind of a clip. It'll clip the primitive. So you can you get some fine-tuned controls there. So I can even clip from the side. Let me Control Z that. I think if you hold Shift, it'll do both sides, which is kind of cool at the same time. So Really, just because you only have a handful of primitives to play with, you can really make some very intricate things very quickly. So that's basically the quick overview of this. So let's go ahead and get started, and let's make something cool. So let's start on our little starfighter here. Alright, so I am back. I'm going to go ahead and do a full reset. So we're starting at square one. I think what I'll do, let me turn the right way here. What I'll do is just delete. I'm going to do another extender real quick. This has already been in there since 4 or 8, so I'm just going to add just a little bit of depth here. And then I'm going to change, no, I don't want the size, I want, where is that? I haven't played with this one enough. Creasing, no. All I want is resolution. Extender. I already messed with that one. Creasing. As a Z resolution. Just add some edge loops. There we go. Okay, I'm good. Except, let's go back to our deformer, our project primitive, and there we go. Let's get started. So let's go ahead and start. We'll kind of work with the cockpit back here. So this will be our nose up here. I'm going to scale it up. I'm going to stretch them out a little bit. May narrow him just a hair. Alright. Not bad. I'm going to increase the tessellation just a little bit. You don't want to get too crazy with it. You start getting too crazy with the tessellation, your memory just starts going nuts, and you start coming up with like 2 to 5 million poly model there, which you really don't need for what we're working with here. Alright, so I got him, and I think I am happy with that one. Accept. So we've got, what do we want to do now? Let's go ahead and, alright, so let's try, let's turn on our symmetry here. We're going to turn on the X symmetry. Just set it to 1. Doesn't look like it did anything, but once you actually move, boom, he starts, we now have symmetry going on here. We're going to change that shape here a little bit. We're going to kind of give some protrusions here for the wing, or for the engines here on the body. Let's see, may mess with the, I want to mess with tessellation, I want to mess with the blend. There's blend. Yeah, it looks like I'm just probably getting too far away from the mesh, so I need to come back in. There we go. That looks a little better there. Bring him back. Not that far back. Looks kind of weird. Let's see, what else can I do with this? Let's see. Really, it's just a matter of playing with this, finding a form that you like. Not too jazzed about that little protrusion down here. Maybe if I play with the displacement. No, I don't want to play with displacement. Maybe opacity. A little bit here. Or why don't we, let me get that displacement again. Not displacement. Bring the opacity out. We'll just build this up. We'll do this. Alright, we'll go ahead and accept that. And it creates a duplicate of it real quick, and then we'll just bring them out a little further, and then we'll just continue on with the shape here. Shrink it in a little bit. Bring them down. Doesn't need to be that long anymore. Can, if we want, we can rotate them in a little bit. Look at them from up top here. Kind of drag them around to where we like them. Something like that. Right. So let's go ahead. We got our basic shape here. Let's go ahead, and what we'll do is I'm going to go ahead and do just a regular reset here. It's the same shape, but it's changed the orientation. Reset it for me here. I think. Nope. Nope. What is that? I don't want blend. I want new surface so I can see what I'm working with here. Want to change the primitive type. Should be this one here. Actually, I just need to change the modifier. Nope. I need to change 2. Change that outer modifier. No. Go back. I think all I had to do is just change the modifier. Yep, that's all I need to do. Alright, so let's start working on our wings. Let's go ahead and shrink them down as flat as I can. It can only go to 0.1. We're going to bring him back here just to get it started and make sure, okay, he's still inside the mesh. That's good. What we'll do is we'll zoom him out there. Let's go ahead and change this back to not a new surface anymore. Got to bring him in just a little bit more. Okay. Looks a little weird. Let's continue on. What we do is just extend him out, extend the width. Looks super weird. Let's keep on going. Make them thicker. And what we could do is change the opacity here. Let's go to the X opacity. No. Maybe the Z? Yeah, the Z. There we go. See, now it starts thinning them out there. Tapers them off. Nice, right? Now I can thin them out just a little bit now. Maybe too thin. I don't want them super duper thin there because whenever we remesh, it's gonna mess with it a little bit. It's gonna thin things out. Bring him in. Now I can stretch him out. And if you haven't noticed, I actually, just a second ago, I had brought this guy all the way in, which is your clipping. So it clips that innermost part there, so you can actually rotate these around without it protruding out the other side. But first, what I want to do, I'm going to clip this back side, kind of flatten him out a little bit. There we go. Now he's nice and flat. We can move him back, scale him out. Now we got this cool sort of, I don't know what you call it, delta wing, maybe? Bring him in. I don't know why it keeps on, because it's narrow up here and it's thickens up out here, which is kind of weird. Need to... Alright. That's alright. I think I'm okay with that. See, now I can rotate this whole guy here. Very cool little design there. I like that. I like that. I like it. I like it. Let me see. Let me change the Y opacity. Maybe that'll help fix that. Yeah, that fixed that. There we go. That looks a lot better. It's a little more streamlined there. Same thickness throughout. That's what we want. So I can change the overall thickness by scaling this up like that. There we go. Now it's got a little more meat to it there. That's what we need. Okay, I'm happy with that. How about you guys? So let's go ahead and accept. And let's create this. Gotta bring him inside there. There we go. We don't want him that long. Let's figure out where that scale is. It scales on this. Like that. And then let's adjust Y scale, thin them out just a little bit so they're not as thick as the other ones. Not bad. Okay, cool. We've got a very weird snub-nosed starfighter here, but I'm liking it. As you can see, it's super quick and easy to make this. So I'm going to go ahead and accept that, and we will jump out to reset. Let's go ahead and just do full reset. And now we've got our basic sphere again. Let's see, is there anything I can do up front here? Let's fix some of this geometry down here. Let's bring him back. Scale it up. Let me zoom in here so I can see what I'm looking at. See what it's doing. Creating some crazy creasing right there. I probably could have used a little more resolution on those wings there, but it's alright. We can still generate our low poly from this. It's going to be just fine, guys. Let's see here. Let's scale. Oh, I know what I think I need to do is increase tessellation because that reset. So increase that. Let's find our blend. Somewhere in here, there he is. Drag him around until it looks a little better. There we go. Go ahead and accept him. Scale him down. It's not too bad. Go ahead, accept. I'm going to change the primitive type. Go to more of a square. Go ahead and change to a new surface so I can see what he is. I think just scale him up. There we go. Or change that modifier real quick. Bring it back. There we go. Okay. Go ahead and move him around. See if we can find a shape we like. Kind of like how it boxes off like that. Let's add just a hair of rotation. Cool. Alright. Go ahead, accept. Let's move him over here. May scale him just a bit. Hold on. Add some nice little chisel lines around here and there. Cool. Alright, so let's go ahead and accept. We'll go ahead and do a full reset. We're gonna new surface. We're We're going to finish him up, put some engines on the back of this guy. Pull him out here so we can see which primitive he is. I think we need to go to 2 and change the modifier. There we go. Oh, I think I need 3. 3. Five. Okay, go ahead and change to X symmetry again because we did a full reset, so we got to reset all our switches there. Drag them off, scoot them back. Let's get ready to add this to them. Scale them down. Let's go ahead and change it back to that surface there. It's not a bad location. I think I need to come down just a hair. There we go. And let's work on our scale. Do overall scale here. Readjust this. Go. Let me get a little more tessellation going here. Find that sucker. There he is. Alright, that'll work. We'll clip off the front part here. And let's see. I think that's gonna work. Go ahead and accept. We're gonna drag him out until he goes negative. There we go. And unclip that front part. And as you can see, now we're digging in. We'll scale him down. Now we just did our little Boolean cut straight in there, and we've got our engines. Quick and easy. So, let's see. Let's go ahead and accept that. So we got our engines. Good to go. Awesome. Awesome. Overall, I'm pretty satisfied here. I would kind of like something down here. That, I don't know. I think I'll live with that. I think I can live with that. I don't know why. It's not really... Yeah. We'll just go with what we got here. I think we'll be okay. Overall, we got a very good silhouette here. You could take the time to, you know, if you wanted, you could bring this guy up front. And let's see here. And do your little intakes here if you wanted to do that. Actually, that turned out halfway decent. I think I'm going to keep it. All right, yeah, that worked. Yeah. So now we have our intakes. No time at all. Awesome. Okay. So go ahead, click accept, and click your gear, and accept. All right, we're out of that. Awesome. And there we go. We've got our basic starfighter there that we can start getting ready for low poly. You can certainly continue on, or yeah, you continue on with me here, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on the polygroups real quick, so we can get it ready for ZRemesh, and then we'll go into ZModeler, do some quick fixes here and there, and I'll show you how to design a quick cockpit and canopy, which we will cut into here just shortly. So feel free to continue on with me to with that process. So real quick, I'm gonna do the polygroups here. I'm gonna probably fast forward this because this is kind of a tedious process here to get the polygroups just right for ZRemesh. So we'll do a quick time lapse here so you can watch to see what I'm doing, and I'll meet you on the other side, okay? All right, and I think we might be okay. Yeah. Okay, I think we are golden with our polygroups. As you can tell, it can be a little tedious, and that's why I fast forwarded through there. We may run into a bit of an issue right here with these groups so closely packed together, at least when it comes, because I'm going to use ZRemesher. It's quick and easy, a little dirty, but you know it's a lot faster than retopologizing the whole thing. But if you're comfortable doing the retopology thing, go for it. Just do it that way. So let us open up the geometry, and we'll go to ZRemesher. I'm going to do a target count of 10 for the time being. We're going to actually lower that down. Move our adaptive down to 20. I'm going to try 80 curve strength. That might be too much. We're going to do keep groups smooth all the way on. And make sure your symmetry is on. I'm going to do a quick mirror and weld. Make sure I got my polygroups the same on both sides. And let's watch the magic. Or total disaster. I don't know. We'll see, won't we? Well, we haven't run into errors. And wow, okay. I think we did halfway decent job. We're at 20,000 points, 21,000 points. Not bad. A little bit of chaos down here. Let me turn on the line here so you can see what we're generating here. It's a good thing I did that Sculptress. Let me turn that off so I don't accidentally use it again. The Sculptress Pro to smooth out those transitions. I guess I should have smoothed those transitions out. Let me just Control Z. And I already did the transition. Maybe I just need to do it just a little bit more. Let's just smooth it out just a little bit more. Sculptress. Let me turn. Man. Let me smooth it just a little bit more here. See if that fixes some of those errors. Alright, zoom back out. We'll go ahead, mirror and weld, and let's see remesh again and find out if that has helped. It may still tug on it there. It's hard to tell. Oh, yeah, that is so much better there. So yeah, you can definitely, Sculptus Pro has its definite helps. It definitely helps every once in a while. Let me zoom in. Man, that turned out really, really well. So let's go ahead and do just a polish by groups, just a slight polish by groups, and you can find that in your deformation right here. That helps smooth out some of those transitions there. Not bad at all. I don't see too many hiccups. It does kind of suck in some of your topology there. So these thin wings are going to have a bit of an issue. So we are going to go ahead and go back to ZRemesh. Keep all the settings except half on your polygroup, on your poly count, and we'll ZRemesh again. Zoom out here and let's see what happens. Not too bad. We got it down to 11,600 points. I'm pretty comfortable with that number. At least, you know, for what we're working with here, I'm pretty jazzed about that. So we'll do just another polish by groups there to kind of tighten everything up. And there we go. We have got our really nice, clean base mesh to work with, and really well structured polygroups to help with generating UVs, which we will get into here shortly. So we've basically got our base mesh, and before I rename him, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to split this canopy off because we don't need him right now. Split hidden. I'm going to go ahead and do a quick save. I did it earlier off camera, but save demo. There we go. And I'm saving all that history too. Okay, so now we got our basic setup here. We're going to just rename him. We'll do demo body. All right, and go here. We'll do rename demo canopy. Done. All right, go back to the body and hit solo. We want to go ahead and generate, and we want to create the cockpit. And I found a pretty quick, easy way to do that. Hello, what is this in here? What is this monstrosity here? Some random piece of geo. Okay. Let's select him. And we'll go down to geometry, modify, and let's delete that bad boy. Yeah. I guess that happened when we, those real tight creases there, I guess it created a little bit of geo on the inside. So, well, that was interesting. That was an interesting find there. Did not expect to see that. Alright, so back to making the cockpit. We need to go over to ZModeler. We're going to go on our edge here, right click for your edge here. We're going to go ahead and do a close, convex. We're going to change polygroup flat and click and hold. And I think I just need two subdivisions there, or two edge loops to do what we need to do here. And we're going to change it to polygroup, polyloop. And I'm going to go ahead and these inner two here, click and hold, tap Alt. We got a new polygroup, and these are always tricky to get. Zoom in. There we go. Zoom out. And go ahead and right click on one of those edges there, and we're going to do slide, edge loop complete. We're going to drag him out. This is going to be like our thickness right here. I would say use an extrude on this polygroup here. It doesn't always work with this. So what I'd like to do is go ahead and Control Shift click this group here, Control click to create a mask, and then bring that all back, and then reverse the mask by Control clicking, and now we reverse the mask, but it doesn't look like it kept the mask on this border. We need to keep that mask on that border. So if you go click on a polygon, mask, poly loop, we can make sure that that stays masked, and that's what we want. And yeah, so just those. Let me see, let me go to this here. I want to slide that edge loop out almost to right where that other edge loop is. Okay, you could have done that before, but I just now remembered it. Do your slice curve, or no, clip curve now. We did slice curve to generate all the polygroups. We don't need to do slice curve anymore. And you do Control Shift, and then just kind of figure out the depth that you want it, and let go. And boom, we just made a quick and easy little cockpit there. So go ahead, get rid of your mask. Oop, click and drag. There we go. And we're going to do quick insert, single edge loop. We're just going to create a couple edge loops here. Up, boom, like that. And we'll select, we'll right click, and we're going to do an extrude. Try to stay away from QMesh because QMesh wants to grab onto any extra polygons. So I like to do an extrude quite often. So we're going to Alt and click the ones we want to extrude back, and then extrude back. Not too far, or you're going to run into your other topology there. That'll do, just to add a little depth to everything. And now we can take like these little guys here and extrude a poly, and we'll create the seat real quick. So go ahead and Alt, extrude these polys here, create our temporary polygroup, and then click and drag up, and then hit Control. Now it's separated. We'll go ahead and get a different polygroup there. So now it's its own individual island, and that's what we want. Now right click, keeping it on extrude, and we'll do polygroup all. Click and drag him up. Okay. And let's see, go ahead, and if you wanted, you could do Control click on a point there. We should have grabbed everything there. If not, just Control Shift A, and it'll grab the whole island. Mask it, click off, reverse the mask, oops, Control Z, yeah, there you go, click just to reverse the mask, hit W. If you hold down Alt on the gizmo, so you can see the icons, hold Alt, go to Unmask Center, and make sure the orientation is still good. Yeah, still good. And we can squeeze them in just a hair. Oops. Let me turn off LSIM. Let me see if that works better. Oh, yeah, that works more like it should. Great. Now let's go ahead and clear the mask. Go back to draw. Let's create another edge loop here, and change it to single poly. Drag him out. Change that polygroup real quick. Looks a little wonky. That's alright. You guys can do a whole lot better. This is just my fast and dirty cockpit. So now let's create a quick console here. Do polygroup or edge loop there. We'll do edge loop there. Now we'll do our extrude polygons. Bring them around. Just do the same sort of trick that we did earlier. Hold out Control. Get a unique color ID there. There we go. Now go to Polygroup All, and we click and drag them up. Not too high. And then, if you do click on an edge, go to, I like to say QMesh. No, just Extrude. And then click on, I think it's the, we want to do, change it to Edge Loop Partial. There we go. Kind of raise it up there. Boom. There. So now we got our seat, we got our console. We can always do Control Shift A, isolate them, and let's see, reverse the mask, move, go to Unmask Mesh Center. We can bring them out if we wanted. There we go. Like I said, you could do a whole lot better job than I did here. So remove the mask. We'll go back to this Extrude Edge Loop. Just change it back to Insert, Alt. We can remove those now. We don't need them anymore. Boom, done. Let's go ahead and we'll select him. Control Shift A, Control W, give him his own polygroup there. Control Shift A, Control W, give him his own polygroup here. I need to select him. Control W, and then see if I get in here. Click this guy. Control W. Almost got it all. Here, Control W. Now I've got them all isolated with their own unique polygroups. Perfect. Cockpit's done. Like I said, it's kind of crude, but it works. It gets the point across. So let's go back to our canopy. We'll do our canopy real fast. Canopy. Alright, on our canopy here, let's go ahead and do turn solo off. We're going to do Z transparent. And I just want to do just a quick inflate, or in this case, we're actually going to do a deflate. We can keep it on extrude polygroups. If you just click and hold shift, that'll actually create a deflate function there. Just want to get it on the inner border there. Okay, I'll turn solo on for a second here so I see. I want to do, let's go ahead and do a polygroup, polyloop, go this way, give it its own ID. There we go, that's nice and visible there. Let's go ahead, do it like that. And let me do single poly, and we'll just go dot, 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 dot. There we go. That looks cool. Just a little frame for a canopy there. And now, what I'm going to do is do an extrude, polygroup all. We're going to click and drag and then hold Control to create a new ID or create a new island. Okay. And now same thing, polygroup all. And click and drag them out. Let me turn solo back on. I don't want it to go out too far. That'll work. That looks good. Alright. So let me solo Control Shift A, give it its own polygroup again. Okay, and now extrude polygroup all, drag him out, hit Alt, just shy of that. There we go. Now this inner radius here, I need it to deflate out. Let's see. See how that looks. A. See. Let me click on him. Control Shift. Let me see here. Doop 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 doop. How am I going to do this? Control C. Okay. Now Control Z. I want to get him back to one shell again. Control W. Okay. Alright, so we want to extrude all. Just hold down Shift and he'll slide out. We don't want to go out too far. Right about there. I'm not even going to bother giving him any thickness. Yeah, I'm just going to keep it like that. I'm not even going to give him any thickness. We'll just keep him just like that. I shouldn't have any issues there. Alright, turn that off. And solo off. Transparency off. Frame him up. There we go. We now have our awesome little canopy on our cockpit. Awesome. Alright, so we've basically got our two low-res items here. And what I want to do real fast, we're going to generate, yeah, we'll go ahead and just generate some UVs real quick for him. So we're on the body here. Turn on solo. And let's go over to our Z plugin. And because we have all these nice tidy polygroups, we can do a quick, easy UV master on this guy. Just turn it on to polygroups and click unwrap. There we go, 26 islands there, sounds about right. We do flatten, and we can see that we've got some nice tidy polygroups in here. Not sure where that guy is at. It's interesting. Let me see. Unflatten. Let me go to my UV panel there. Oh, okay, I see where it's at. Okay, I know exactly where it's at. Go ahead and click these two together, Control W. That's where that guy came from. Now unwrap. Should be 25. Now flatten. There we go. Don't have that little mystery single thin guy there. That's fine. We'll just merge him together. Alright, unflatten. He is now ready. Okay, let's go to our canopy. And let's see, let me grab him real fast. Control Shift A, Control W. Make sure he's all one polygroup there. Okay. This guy, I'm going to do something just a hair differently because I want it to be symmetrical. So I could put any sort of patterns or anything on here and it'll come out symmetrically on the view screen. You could do that, yeah, you could do that, or you could just do the regular unwrap like it is right now. Go geometry, let's go delete by symmetry. There we go. Alright, so now we have just one half here. Unwrap. Okay, you can do a flatten real quick and see how that looks. Looks weird, I know. Unflatten. And now all you have to do is a mirror and weld. Let me find my panel. There it is. There you go. So now, whenever I texture this, it will be symmetrical on both sides. Pretty cool. Pretty neat little trick there. Alright, so everybody is ready to go. So now, let's make some high poly geometry on our starfighter. So take our body, we're going to duplicate, and we'll rename, put high at the end. High, okay. And same thing with our canopy. We'll duplicate, rename. Boom. Alright. And man, I can't even spell Canopy. Canopy, that's awesome. I'm going to live with that for now. I'm going to save this whole project. Alright, so let's go to Demo Body High. And we're going to do some other stuff with this here. We're going to add some edge loops, and then we're going to do some surface noise. So continuing on, go ahead and go to, you can go to your UV map here. Go ahead and do GUV tiles. And I want you to go ahead and remove him, because we don't want all that extra detail with this guy here and these guys back here. Those little thrusters back there. We don't need all that weird topology in there. So go ahead and we did the GUV. Go ahead and go into Polygroups and auto group with UV. Merge stray. Now go ahead and mirror and weld. And yes, mirror and weld is actually under geometry, modified topology. Sorry, I never told you that. If you like the UI, go to Gumroad or ZBrush and you can get it. Okay, back to the subject at hand. We can unhide everything. Go under edge loop, change it to 3, G polish down to 20, turn off triangles, and do a group loop. There we go. We got some nice kind of semi-organic tiling going on here. Go back to your, and it kind of smoothed a lot of things out. Kind of weird little topology here and there, but it's all right. At the end, it's going to look pretty awesome. So we're going to extrude polygroup all. We're already set up on it, and we need that innermost group that we created. So click and drag them in just a little bit. It doesn't have to be extreme. You don't want to go too far. All right, just tapped Alt real quick to change the color of it. Looking good. We can turn that off, and we can take a look at him. He's got some neat little panels in there, but it gets even better. So wait for it. So go back to UV again. We're gonna re-UV our critter here, our fighter, GUV again, and go ahead and mirror and weld. Oops, see, did I forget something? I think I forgot something. Yes, I did. I forgot to, hold on, Control Z, do. Oh, I did. Let's go back out to here, do that group loops again, sorry. Control Z, oh my goodness, mirror and weld. I must have just hit mirror, or I just forgot altogether. Group loops, okay. Here we go. Redo, extrude. Okay, not bad. All right, now we're symmetrical. Now I won't have a complex. Okay. All right, so GUV again, mirror and weld. So now it's going to be symmetrical. I'm going to turn off polyframe. I'm going to go ahead and turn on dynamic subdivision, just so we can get a quick preview of what's going on. Go into dynamic D. Looking pretty cool, just like it is. I like that. Cool, cool. All right, so go under your surface, go to noise, change it. Let me frame them up here. And we'll zoom in so you can see some of the details. Change it to UV. Go down to flip H or FH and turn on alpha, and go to, if you go to my Gumroad or ZBrush, go to sample pack, 4K sample pack. I think let me see if I'm, yeah, we'll use number 5. We'll see how this looks. Turn off basic noise, so quit mixing. You can turn off the color blend. We don't need color blend for this one. Zoom out just a hair, and then bump up your strength, and we should start seeing something. And now we're adding a ton of detail super fast to your model. So now it's just taking that noise and wrapping it all around in a very cool way. Let me see, recenter. Oh, geez Louise. Zoom. Okay. Move. Okay, cool. Alright, so let's increase that a little bit more so we can see what we're doing. And now we can adjust this alpha scale and rotate it around and scale it up and down to get more detail or less detail. And to fine tune it, if you really want to go super slow with this, if you double click this, there's another little green icon just above there that goes real slow, that goes a lot slower for you, and you can adjust it on the fly. So just kind of zoom it around till you find a pattern you like. It's going to look a little different on every model, but this technique works really well with quad base low poly models, and you have to watch out for every once in a while the way the GUV tiles work. Get these weird little patterns, so you may just cycle through it until it kind of disappears. It'll reappear just depending on what texture is below it, so it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird that way. So we're just gonna zoom around here, find some details we like. Okay, so let's say we're comfortable with that. Click OK. Zoom in here, and to test this out you can click BPR and it'll apply the displacement to everything. So let's see what it looks like. Okay, so it's kind of low. It's very flush to the surface. So let's beef up our strength. We'll jump up to 0.3 and see how that looks. All right, BPR. Still kind of low. Let's go ahead and we'll just max it out to 0.5. See how far we can take this. And BPR. It's always better just to test it out like this without, having to start totally deforming it. Keep it in a preview state. I like that. We'll stick with that 0.5. That strength works perfectly, so you can always jump around and adjust all these. You can go back in there and edit the texture however you want. You're still in a preview mode. It looks really good. Now, one thing what I want to do, I want to isolate this inner cockpit. I'm going to mask him, bring him back out, and then I'm going to mask our turbines here, or our engine for our thrusters. Oops, see, mask him. There we go. And so at the end we will only have, it won't apply that noise to those specific areas because we have a mask on them. So if I do a BPR again, you'll see the mask or the surface noise will not generate in that little section there. And it'll keep the details on everything else. Cool, right? So let's go ahead and clear our mask. I'm going to turn off dynamic, and we're going to do a traditional subdivision. So divide. We're at 1.7 million points right now. We're going to divide one more time. So we're up at 6.832. All right. So we could have just applied our dynamic subdivision. You could do it that way, but I like doing it that way myself. I'm going to get off of ZModeler. I don't need him. So I'm going to click on him again, mask, click on those thrusters, mask, boom, come back out, frame him up, go to your geometry, and click on Convert BPR to Geo. And now that surface noise will now bake into that mesh. And there you go. Now it's a full, now it's actual editable geometry at 6.8 million active points. Pretty cool. So go to your subtool here, we do Canopy High. We're going to go ahead and all we need to really do, I'm going to add just some creasing real quick. If you go under Geometry, go to Crease, and go just keep the tolerance at 45 and click Crease. There you go. Turn off Polyfill. If you turn on Dynamic, boom, there you go. So let's go to our subtools. I'm going to turn off the low res body and our demo KOP, which should be Canopy. Sorry guys. And so okay, so now hit turn off solo, and there you go. There is your cool high res mesh that you can send off to Substance Painter and all that, and create some cool textures over it. And I'll probably end up doing that, so I'll probably have a link in the description of the fully painted version. But we're not here today for Substance Painter. We are here today for ZBrush and the coolness that it is. So yeah, all you really need to do now is just decimate your model down a little bit so it's not so high, and send it off to Substance Painter. You can go render it in a key shot. You can render a key shot right now. If you have the key shot bridge, you just do render, not render Volians, external render. You can hit key shot and click BPR, and it will take it over to key shot. So we'll go over there real fast. And I'll slap a quick material on there. So let me just grab one of my materials I have. It's just the Occlusion material with a few modifications there. And I can turn off the canopy for now. Let me see, that's Canopy, there it goes. And there you go, guys. A very cool model that really, to be honest, didn't take you that long to make. You know, I think the tedious part is just the cleanup process afterwards to create the low poly. But from start to finish, I think we did this in pretty good time, guys. So thanks for stopping by. Definitely smash that like if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed to me yet. I don't know why you haven't. And we will catch you in the next video. And you guys have a great day.